Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next hour.
पुनर्स्थापित करने की अनुमति दी जाए। महोदय, मैं प्रस्ताव करता हूं कि संघ राज्य क्षेत्र शासन अधिनियम 1963 का संशोधन करने वाले विधेयक को पुनर्स्थापित करने की मंजूरी दी जाए।
कर दिया श्री Asauddin Owaisi ji.
Sir, I stand to oppose the introduction of J&K Reorganization Amendment Bill 2025, Union Territories Amendment Bill 2025, and the Constitution 130 Amendment Bill 2025, sir. Sir, this violates principle of separation of powers, due process, undermines the right of the people to elect.
So those were the proceedings of the lower house of Indian Parliament. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's take a look at the headlines we are tracking at this hour. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to co-chair 26th session of India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic, Scientific, Technological and Cultural Cooperation in Moscow today. Russia has a very special mechanism to continue oil supplies to India, says Russian embassy officials in New Delhi. The Promotion and Regulation of Online Gaming Bill 2025 introduced in the Lok Sabha. Home Minister Amit Shah to introduce 3 key bills, including the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Amendment Bill 2025 in the Lok Sabha today. Many options being discussed for the location of Putin-Zelensky summit, says White House. President Trump rules out sending US troops, but may extend US air power to back a Ukraine peace deal. IMD issues red alert for Maharashtra as most parts of the western Indian state lashed by rains, disrupting normal life. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is visiting Russia and is expected to co-chair the 26th session of the India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic, Scientific, Technological and Cultural Cooperation, IRIGC-TEC, today. The External Affairs Minister will also address the India-Russia Business Forum meetings in Moscow. He will also meet Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and review the bilateral agenda and share perspective on regional and global issues. The visit aims to further strengthen the long-standing and time-tested India-Russia special and privileged strategic partnership. Dr. S. Jaishankar will be in Russia till August the 21st. Further, the Russian embassy in India held a press briefing to discuss the current dynamics of Russia-India relations, marking significant anniversaries, including the 25th anniversary of their strategic partnership and the 78th anniversary of diplomatic ties. The discussion highlighted the increasing cooperation within the Forum of BRICS, particularly in the financial sphere, driven by the need for safer transactions and mutual benefit. It emphasizes BRICS' role as a stabilizing force in a turbulent global environment, with trade among its members growing significantly.
The trade within BRICS is growing against the backdrop of the current turbulence. For example, Russia's trade with BRICS partners has increased by 70.5% in the previous year. And the point is that the more challenging and unpredictable the global environment becomes, the more relevant BRICS becomes as a stabilizing force and a center of gravity for those who are seeking a mutually beneficial cooperation, grounded in respect for sovereignty and diversity.
The discussion also touched stable and growing trade relations between India and Russia, highlighting that Russia is India's fourth largest trading partner. Now, despite external pressures and sanctions, trade is expected to continue growing at an annual rate of approximately 10%. So, the importance of maintaining oil imports from Russia were highlighted. They constitute a crucial 40% share of the Indian economy, and the potential use of national currencies in settlements amid declining trust in global currencies like the US dollar and euro.
Of our export, but nevertheless we see the tendency when number and range of goods, commodities is increasing. And besides that, we see that, and I wanted to highlight that despite political situation, we can predict that the same level of oil import, crude oil import, would be approximately the same.
All right, let's now connect with Ravi Joshi, Visiting Fellow, Observer Research Foundation, ORF. Welcome, Ravi ji, to DD India. First of all, at this point in time, what do the current meetings between Indian and Russian leaders during a time of considerable global uncertainty and shocks show about the durability and strength of India-Russia relations?
Now, let me start with a brief background of the Intergovernmental Commission. What does it mean? India and Russia set up this strategic partnership in the year up to 2000 when Prime Minister Vajpayee was our leader and President Putin was president of Russia. Now, we are celebrating the Silver Jubilee anniversary of that strategic partnership. This was upgraded to special privilege, strategic partnership in the year 2010. So we are already now, we are in an extremely special privileged relationship for the last 15 years. Okay, now under this mechanism, there are various institutionalized dialogue mechanisms. And the Intergovernmental Commission is the second highest body after the annual summit between the two leaders of the two countries. Now, in the Intergovernmental Commission, there are two divisions. One is the trade, economic, scientific, technological, and cultural cooperation, which is headed by our External Affairs Minister Jaishankar on the Indian side, and Denis Mantoro, the first Deputy Prime Minister on the Russian side. The second division is the Defense Ministers' Dialogue, which happens between Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and their Defense Minister Shoigu. Now, there is also another mechanism called the 2+2 dialogue, which happens between the Foreign Minister and the Defense Minister meeting their counterparts whenever there is a summit level meeting between the Prime Minister and the President of Russia. So these are the various institutionalized mechanisms which have been in place for the last 15 years. So we are in an extremely cozy, comfortable relationship with Russia. And now, what is the focus of Jaishankar's visit? See, in the trade and economic cooperation, that set up in the year 2023 a target of reaching $30 billion in bilateral investment and reaching a bilateral trade of $100 billion. Now, bilateral investment was $50 billion, which we have already reached $30 billion, which is a remarkable achievement. And the bilateral trade was supposed to be to reach $100 billion, and we have now reached an unprecedented high of $65 billion. This is mainly because of India's import of Russian oil. Bilateral trade relationship between India and Russia, out of $60 billion, India's exports to Russia is only $4 billion. So India's imports from Russia is $61 billion. So this is mainly because of the enormous increase in our oil imports from Russia, which has been going on since the Russia-Ukraine war. Earlier, our percentage of Russian oil imports was only 2%. Now it has gone up to 42%. So this 40% increase is a phenomenal increase. In fact, this is one of the reasons which the American State Department said that India is one of the main beneficiaries of cheap or discounted oil pricing by Russia and has gained enormously from this. And so we must put the squeeze on India, which will impact upon...
Ravi Joshi ji, request you to stay with me as we are getting some live input there. Let's go to the lower house of Indian Parliament. Amit Shah is addressing.
सदस्य आप बिल पर बोलिए, आप 72 के नियम के तहत बोलिए।
सर, दिस नियम है, आपका डायरेक्शन है। 19
आप 72 नियम के तहत बोलिए।
सर, लाइक नहीं है सर,
नियम के तहत बोलो आप 72।
सर, दिस आपका डायरेक्शन है 19A 19B।
हाँ है।
Chapter on call भी है।
हाँ।
Very clearly telling at least 1 week notice is needed for introducing a bill. Sir, I am telling that this bill is to target the opposition ruling government. This bill is to threaten the people like Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu. This bill is to blackmail everybody. Sir, my point
आप माननीय सदस्य आप चलिए। धर्मेंद्र प्रधान जी बोलना चाहते हैं?
प्रधान है यादव।
आपके मेंबरों को बिठाओ।
धन्यवाद अध्यक्ष जी। मैं ये जो तीनों के तीनों विधेयक आए हैं।
All right, Home Minister Amit Shah trying to introduce the 3 key bills in Parliament. We'll touch this story in a short while from now. Let me go back to Ravi Joshi, visiting fellow ORF. Sir, you were making your point on the robust trade ties between India and Russia. Would it be fair to say that the current visit to Russia by the External Affairs Minister and little earlier by National Security Advisor Ajit Doval were partly or fully inspired by the decisions taken by US President Donald Trump?
This Intergovernmental Commission meeting assumes enormous significance in the backdrop of the 25% extra tariff on the secondary tariffs that President Trump has imposed upon India for importing Russian oil. Okay, now this was actually meant to squeeze both India and Russia. And he also announced that because we put pressure on India, India has put pressure on President Putin to come to the negotiating table, which I doubt very much, but there may be some truth in it, okay? Anyway, so we saw on August 15th, President Trump and President Putin had a meeting in Alaska to discuss the Ukraine issue. And there has been some progress in the sense that President Trump initially insisted on ceasefire and President Putin...
All right, let's go back to the Parliament. Here, Amit Shah introducing the key bills in Parliament.
की कार्रवाई 3 बजे तक के लिए स्थगित की जाती है।
Joshi ji, yes, Parliament proceedings in the lower house, Lok Sabha adjourned now till 3 p.m. I really apologize for those interruptions. Sir, you may please continue the point on Intergovernmental Commission, this meeting getting added significance due to decisions taken by Donald Trump in the past month.
Yes, I was saying that this Intergovernmental Commission meeting assumes a lot of significance in the backdrop of what President Trump, the sanctions that Trump has imposed upon India for importing Russian oil. Now, we are not backing out. That is the most important thing. You know, neither Russia is backing out nor India is backing out from continuing our trade in Russian oil. And we have made it very clear to the President of the US that our trade relationship with Russia is a separate issue. That has nothing to do with our trade relationship with America or with China or with any other country. So there we stand very firm on that. And I'm sure that is what Mr. Jaishankar will also emphasize in his meeting with the Russian counterpart. So now, what is important is the geopolitical effect of the Russia-Ukraine war and America's intervention and European intervention on putting pressure on Russia. How will that play upon the other countries who are affected by trade relations? Now, there is definitely going to be pressure on us. There's no doubt. And the secondary tariff will kickstart on 27th August, which is hardly 7 days from now. So, and there has been no significant progress on the Russia-Ukraine talks. Though Zelensky was in the White House 2 days ago, and they are now talking about a bilateral meeting and a trilateral meeting between Russia, Ukraine, and probably with Trump also mediating between the two. So it is not very clear which will take first. I'm sure the bilateral meeting will be positioned first, and then President Trump will come and join them. So this is what is likely to happen.
Okay.
So
Ravi Joshi ji, finally, the press conference that was held earlier in the day by the Russian embassy in New Delhi, they have elaborated on increasing cooperation within BRICS, particularly in the financial sphere. But just a few days ago, the External Affairs Ministry spokesperson had said to a media query that de-dollarization is not part of the Indian agenda. So how do we look at this?
Yes, that is a very tricky issue. The BRICS countries are trying to get away from the dollar hegemony, okay, and do their trading within their own local currencies. Like Brazil buys from China, and Brazil pays in its currency, and China pays Brazil in yuans, and India buys and pays in rupees and buys and pays in yuans. This kind of a trade was what was emphasized by the BRICS collective, but India has not fully agreed to that arrangement. And India has also come under pressure again from President Trump that if you go for de-dollarization, then you will be paying a very heavy penalty from the American side. You must remember that we have a huge trade balance with America. India-America trade is more than $85 billion. It's now almost touching $100 billion. And it is in our favor, the balance of trade. So it will be foolhardy on our part to get away from this trade and get into a de-dollarized economy. So it's a very fine game we are playing. It's a very fine balance we have to achieve on this, because we are a partner of BRICS, we are a partner of the SEO, in which we are with Russia, China, and various other countries in Central Asia, and in BRICS we are with South Africa and Brazil, but we are also partners with America in Quad. So we are playing a multipolar game here, and we are standing on so many stools, and we are playing with so many balls in the air. So this is a very tricky game. And we have to balance our relationship with so many countries. And it's very difficult. And now we are improving our relations with China. Our relationship with Russia are rock solid. Okay, but our relationship with China had gone through various ups and downs in the last 4 years. And we are back to maintaining some kind of a arrangement by which we want peace and tranquility on our border and starting trade. So all this is... So this is a very complex game that we are playing, and we have to watch, wait, and see how it will pan out.
Yeah, of course. But perhaps one could say that relations of India with both Russia and China, perhaps a little more sharper and stronger today than they were a month earlier. Thank you very much, Ravi Joshi ji, for being with us on DD India News Hour.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the other story developing right now. Union Home Minister Amit Shah tabled two important bills in the lower house of Parliament. These bills are Jammu and Kashmir Reorganisation Amendment Bill 2025, This is a bill further to amend the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganisation Act 2019. The second bill introduced by Amit Shah is the Constitution 130th Amendment Bill 2025. This bill aims at introducing Section 5A to Article 239AA to address the issue of removal of elected representatives. So all this a part of the monsoon session of Indian Parliament. And of course, last we saw live visuals coming in. The lower house of Indian Parliament adjourned till 3 p.m. Let me now go over to Dibendu Mondal joining us from the Indian Parliament House. Dibendu, if you could summarize for us what has just happened in after Lok Sabha, the lower house of Indian Parliament resumed at 2 p.m.
Well, Tanvi, a quick update. The Parliament resumed at 2 p.m. The Union Home Minister Amit Shah, who was slated to introduce three important legislation. One was, of course, the 130th Constitutional Amendment, which perhaps aims to, amend the law that will now decriminalize politics. But however, that bill will now be referred to the JPC. We have seen the opposition parties, Manish Tiwari, KC Venugopal, AIM, Asaduddin Owaisi, opposing that bill. Of course, this is under Rule 77, wherein once a bill is introduced and such a constitutional amendment bill is introduced, the opposition is given a chance to oppose that bill, and therefore that chance was given. And we have seen a massive uproar in the Lok Sabha once that bill was introduced by Union Home Minister Amit Shah. After which, once that uproar became uncontrollable inside the House had to be adjourned till 3 p.m. Union Home Minister Amit Shah also introduced the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganisation Bill and also another bill to amend Article 239AA. So what is Article 239AA? This will also be a constitutional amendment. Why? Because 239AA governs the union territories of the country, wherein the union territories with a chief minister, for example, Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir, as well as Pondicherry. So therefore, these bills were presented by Union Home Minister Amit Shah. This will now be referred to a JPC, but due to a massive uproar that happened within the House of the Lok Sabha, the Speaker had to adjourn the House hurriedly till 3 p.m.
Okay, and a word also on the online gaming bill, its regulation. If you could tell us what that bill has in its features.
Well, Tanvi, the online regulation bill that had been in debate for a very long time. We have seen a lot of celebrities that were endorsing online betting and as well as online games had to be, the ED had called and questioned them because that forms a part of gambling. But that bill was introduced by the Minister for Electronics as well as the Information Technology, Ashwini Vaishnav. But that bill is yet to be taken up for debate and discussion and passed in the Lok Sabha. But as far as what that bill entails to criminalize as well as it will deregulate all forms of online gaming that involves betting as well as that involves money, because a lot of young children falls into that trap of earning those quick bucks. It is sort of gambling. So therefore these games will be deregulated as well as taken down once the bill is passed. So this is the primary aspect of that online gaming regulation bill. Tanvi.
Okay, a lot of commotion there, but important bills being passed. Thank you very much, Dibendu Mondal, for reporting on this story. Moving on, National Democratic Alliance NDA candidate C.P. Radhakrishnan filed his nomination papers today for the post of Vice President of India. The nomination was filed at Parliament House and was attended by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who acted as the chief proposer in the first set of nomination papers. BJP President J.P. Nadda, Union Home Minister Amit Shah, among other leaders, also accompanied Radhakrishnan. The nomination was submitted in 4 sets, each containing the signatures of 20 proposers and 20 seconders. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is Radhakrishnan's campaign manager, while Union Minister Kiran Rijiju will serve as his election agent. The Vice President's elections are scheduled for September 9th this year. The nomination comes just days after Prime Minister Modi praised Radhakrishnan, describing him as a leader with dedication, humility and intellect who has consistently worked towards empowering marginalized communities. C.P. Radhakrishnan, currently serving as the Governor of Maharashtra, is a senior BJP leader with decades of experience in legislative and administrative roles. A former MP from Tamil Nadu, he is known for his strong grassroots connect and focus on social upliftment. Moving on now. Senior Congress leader Shashi Tharoor on Tuesday once again dismissed Donald Trump's repeated claims, stating that it was India's successful strikes, not Trump's diplomacy, that led to the cessation of firing and military action with Pakistan in May. Shashi Tharoor added that the stoppage of conflict was the direct result of India's military action and subsequent contact between the two neighbors' military leadership.
Now, I take the point of those who said today on stage that surely we don't believe that this is going to end terrorism from Pakistan. Of course we don't. The facilities we've destroyed can all be rebuilt within 6 to 9 months and probably will be. But the intent may have been shaken a little bit. And certainly the successful strikes of the night of 9th, 10th May and the ability of India to intercept the attempted Pakistani response when they sent missiles to Delhi on the morning of the 10th, I think was what contributed undoubtedly, and not Mr. Trump, to the call by the Pakistani DGMO to his Indian counterpart.
Shashi Tharoor there dismissing Donald Trump's claims on a ceasefire between India and Pakistan. Further, India has slammed Pakistan at the UNSA over forced religious conversions of thousands of vulnerable women and girls. Addressing the open debate on conflict-related sexual violence, the Indian diplomat E. Matthew reminded the UNSA about the violations by Pakistani army on Bangladeshi women in 1971, at a time when Pakistan is sitting as non-permanent member. He added that the atrocities by Pakistan still continue unabated.
Before I conclude, I would like to briefly address the baseless allegation raised by the delegate of Pakistan. The utter impunity with which Pakistan army perpetrated heinous crimes of gross sexual violence against hundreds of thousands of women in erstwhile East Pakistan in 1971 is a matter of shameful record. This deplorable pattern continues unabated and with impunity to this day. Rampant abduction, trafficking, child early and forced marriages and domestic servitude, sexual violence and forced religious conversions of thousands of vulnerable women and girls as weapons of persecution towards religious and ethnic minority communities are reported and chronicled, including in the recent OHCHR reports. These reports highlight that the vile acts by Pakistan are also validated by its judiciary. It is ironical that those who perpetrate these crimes are now masquerading as champions of justice. The duplicity and hypocrisy is self-evident.
Still to come on DD India News Up. US pushes for new Gaza ceasefire proposal. Israel wants 50 hostages released first. Hamas agrees in principle to the plan. North Korea accuses the South Korean president of having a dual personality, as his desire for peace with Pyongyang doesn't align with joint military exercises with the US, says Kim. White House launches its official TikTok account, capitalizing on its 150 million plus US user base, with Trump saying, "I am your voice."
This week on Defense Dynamics, we decode Project Sudarshan Chakra and how it could reshape India's strategic air defense. We analyze India's toughest technological challenge, the building of own fighter jet engines. From silicon to steel, why indigenous microchips may decide the wars of tomorrow. And we will talk about the record-breaking feat, the longest surface-to-air missile kill in the aviation history during Operation Sindoor. This Wednesday at 8 p.m. only on DD India.
Thank you for staying with us on DD India News Hour. I am Tanvi Taneja. A quick reminder of the headlines we are tracking at this hour. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to co-chair 26th session of the India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic, Scientific, Technological and Cultural Cooperation in Moscow today. Russia has a very special mechanism to continue oil supplies to India, says Russian embassy officials in New Delhi. Home Minister Amit Shah introduces key bills, including the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganisation Amendment Bill 2025 in the Lok Sabha. The Promotion and Regulation of Online Gaming Bill also introduced in the lower house. Many options being discussed for location of the Putin-Zelensky summit, says the White House. President Trump rules out sending US troops but may extend US air power to back a Ukraine peace deal. And IMD issues red alert for Maharashtra as most parts of the western Indian state lashed by rains, disrupting normal life. Updates next on the Russia-Ukraine conflict. A day after US President Donald Trump offered security assurances to help resolve the conflict during a rare White House summit, the path to peace remains unclear as the US and its allies have had discussions on the nature of potential military support for Ukraine. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed that US air support was an option and a possibility to back the peace deal.
Be on the ground in Ukraine, but we can certainly help in the coordination and perhaps provide other means of security guarantees to our European allies. The President understands security guarantees are crucially important to ensure a lasting peace, and he has directed his national security team to coordinate with our friends in Europe and also to continue to cooperate and discuss these matters with Ukraine and Russia as well.
Donald Trump stated that he would not deploy US ground troops to Ukraine, but said that the United States might provide air support as part of a deal to end the conflict. Trump also spoke with Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban on Tuesday about possibly hosting a summit with Zelensky and Putin in Budapest. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky hailed the White House talks as a major step forward towards ending the conflict and setting up a trilateral meeting with Putin and Trump. Also, as per the officials, NATO military leaders were set to meet Wednesday to discuss Ukraine, with US General Dan Kane expected to join the meeting virtually. Meanwhile, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that territorial changes are often an essential component of conflict resolution.
Изменения очень часто являются неотъемлемым компонентом достижения договоренности. Таких примеров множество. Я хочу еще раз особо подчеркнуть, мы никогда не вели речь о том, что нам просто нужно захватить какие-то территории. Ни Крым, ни Донбасс, ни Новороссия, как территории, никогда не были нашей целью. Нашей целью было защитить людей, русских людей, которые столетиями проживали на этих землях, которые открывали эти земли, проливали за них кровь и в Крыму, и на Донбассе, создавали города, Одессу, Николаев, многие другие, порты, заводы, фабрики.
On to Asia now. Hopes are pinned on the latest US-backed ceasefire plan brokered by Egypt and Qatar to end the West Asia crisis. Hamas has accepted the proposal in principle, while Israel has reiterated its demand for the release of 50 hostages still held in Gaza. The plan includes a 60-day pause in fighting, partial Israeli troop withdrawal, and increased humanitarian aid. Meanwhile, mass protests continue in Tel Aviv, urging a truce deal. The United States continues to discuss a ceasefire proposal between Israel and Hamas. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that the development came after Trump posted a very strong statement about this conflict on Truth Social.
I don't think it's a coincidence that Hamas accepted this proposal after the President of the United States posted a very strong statement about this conflict on Truth Social yesterday. I would refer you back to that statement. As for this proposal that Hamas has now accepted, the United States continues to discuss it, and I'll let the President weigh in on it definitively.
Panama and the United States forces conducted joint military exercises on Tuesday in Colon province as part of the ongoing bilateral security cooperation efforts. The training exercises focused on helicopter evacuation procedures and survival skills, with soldiers practicing rescue operations and humanitarian assistance simulations. The exercises are aimed to enhance regional security cooperation, improve interoperability between both nations' forces, and strengthen preparedness for natural emergencies and transnational threats. The drills involved air, land and maritime operations as part of the annual Panamax Alpha 2025 exercise. North Korea's Kim Yo-jong, who is the sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, lambasted South Korean President Lee Jae-myung for exhibiting a dual personality by professing a desire for peace while proceeding with the joint military exercises with the United States. Kim asserted that Lee is not the sort of man who will change the course of history, marked by confrontational ambitions, warning that inter-Korean relations will never return to normal. The remarks come as Seoul and Washington commenced their annual drills this week, which Pyongyang views as invasion rehearsals, prompting vows from leader Kim Jong-un to accelerate nuclear expansion. Kim Yo-jong has dismissed these overtures as insincere, accusing Seoul of shifting the blame onto the Democratic People's Republic of Korea for stalled ties. South Korea's presidential office responded by reaffirming commitment to a new era of joint growth for stability and prosperity. Weather updates now, first from India. Rains continue to lash in India's western state of Maharashtra, disrupting normal life. The major impact has been on suburban and rail services. Indian Meteorological Department has issued red alert for some parts of Maharashtra. Orange alert issued for Mumbai, indicating light to moderate rainfall for the next few hours. In Mumbai, over 12 local train services on the western line are cancelled due to heavy waterlogging. Several local trains are operating with caution and restricted speed. As per Maharashtra Disaster Management Department, in the last 24 hours, heavy rains and floods have killed 6 people in various districts of Maharashtra, while 5 people are missing in Nanded district. Staying with India, light rainfall is being reported in Himachal Pradesh's Shimla and the surrounding areas, with visibility likely to drop at times. Districts such as Sirmaur, Solan and Mandi are also expected to see light to moderate rainfall, while a few isolated pockets may have experienced heavy showers. Meanwhile, Kullu district witnessed cloudburst incident for the second consecutive day today, leading to flood-like situation in Shahatri Nagar areas. No fatalities have been reported, while Manali-Chandigarh highway continues to remain closed due to landslides. The Met Department has cautioned against landslides, flash floods in vulnerable areas and rising water levels in river streams. People are advised to avoid unnecessary travel, stay indoors and remain alert to official weather updates. Shama Mishra joins us from Mumbai and Muskan Chaudhary is joining us from Shimla. First to you, Shama. The major impact, as we have seen, has been on suburban and rail services. What is the prediction for the weather today?
Well, Tanvi, Mumbai is in for good news because the prediction has been taken a notch down from yesterday. Yesterday we did see red alert and we were seeing heavy and continuous rains since 2 to 3 days. But today rain gods have kind of given a mercy on Mumbai, and we are seeing that since morning it's been raining slightly here and there. It's been drizzling rather here and there, but it's not been heavy, and this has come to a breather for Mumbaikars as well. Even at around 10:19 a.m. there was a high tide which had waves ranging of about 4 meters, and at that time also there were no heavy showers, and this also helped Mumbai come back on its track, because yesterday we did see waterlogging at several places including Sion, Hindmata, King Circle, Andheri, Milan Subway. All the waterlogging incidents have now receded. It's completely gone, and people have resumed their vehicular traffic. Even you spoke about the train services. We did see that Central Railway services were largely affected yesterday, but late night everything was brought to normal. And in the wee hours today, in the morning, we did see all the services, all 3 lines have resumed. So Western Railways were already working properly. They are working properly now, but Central Railway on the up and down is experiencing a delay of about 15 minutes, and Harbour Line is also resumed services. Also, Western Railways long distance trains, they have been affected from Mumbai to Pune, and that is why Western Railway has advised people to check before they leave for their trains, because some of the trains might have delayed, some of the trains might have been diverted or cancelled altogether. So people need to check before leaving for their trains. Apart from that, we are also seeing the adjoining areas of Mumbai, Thane, Navi Mumbai, Palghar. These areas continue to experience heavy rains, and normal life continues to get affected. So we are also seeing in Nanded, you've also mentioned Nanded has been badly affected. There have been people missing. NDRF teams have been deployed throughout the state, and they are trying to rescue people. In Nanded itself, close to 300 people were rescued. Even in Mumbai yesterday, we did see one area is called as Kurla, which is considered to be the low-lying area. From there, around 340 people were rescued and taken to a safer spot. So you can imagine the kind of waterlogging Mumbai and the nearby areas were experiencing, and except for Mumbai, rest of the areas in Maharashtra are continuing to experience heavy rains. Also for Maharashtra, in Maharashtra, for Mumbai, there has been an orange alert, which is lesser than a red alert, but Raigad area has a red alert even today. So Raigad area, which is the Konkan area, continues to experience very heavy rainfall, and even in Mumbai, it has been predicted that heavy to very heavy rainfall in isolated places would be there. We are also experiencing wind, which is close to 45 to 55 kilometers per hour. So which is which is really strong, which is gusty, and that is why we are seeing that some of the other way, Mumbai is a bit affected from the rain predictions. Overall, if we are talking about the water supply from the 7 reservoirs that Mumbai gets its water, they are coming close to the complete line. So that is a good news. And even in Navi Mumbai, we are informed that the river that supplies water to Navi Mumbai is completed. It's close to its 100% mark. So that is another good news of the continuous heavy rain. But yes, the continuous heavy rain that we were experiencing since 2 to 3 days has now gone away, and from tomorrow we will experience yellow alert, and then day after tomorrow there will be no alert, which is in green zone. So Mumbai will experience a normal life which will be back to normal, which will be back on its track. Tanvi.
Okay, Shama. Let me also now go to Muskan Chaudhary, standing by in Shimla. Muskan, relentless rainfall and landslides continue to wreak havoc across Himachal Pradesh. Tell us which districts have seen the maximum damage.
Tanvi, due to the continuous monsoon rainfall, many areas across the state have been damaged and severely affected. And the areas I'm talking about are Kullu and Mandi right now, which are severely affected. There have been 2 cloudburst incidents that took place in Kullu district in the last 2 days. One that happened day before yesterday. It took place in Banjar area of Kullu district, where several vehicles were swept away in the flash flood, and another cloudburst incident occurred in the Shastri Nagar of Kullu district, where several panchayats have been severely affected in this cloudburst. The road connected to these panchayat are damaged, So the people of these panchayat, and these panchayat currently are not being able to connect to the main district or to the Banjar area itself right now. And moreover, because of the continuous rainfall, the local river streams and the water bodies nearby are overflowing. So it is also causing a main problem if, to the situation where the administration is trying to repair the road and to through the roads. So it is becoming a problem right now. And apart from that, Manali has also been severely affected. The educational institution in Manali, Una and Kullu have been closed. Administration is advising people to stay alert and to stay cautious, to not go around the water bodies, as the water is being released from several dams across the state right now. So the situation is, as you can see, is very bad for the state right now, and meteorological department has issued a yellow alert of heavy rainfall for 5 districts: Una, Kangra, Mandi, Shimla, Sirmaur. So in these districts, the administration has advised people to stay on alert and to look out for the areas which are landslide prone, and the national highways especially, which are closed right now. As you said, the Manali, Kullu, Mandi national highway is closed in the past 1 week. So according to the meteorological department, the weather for the state will will remain the same for the month of August. There will be no
respite.
The weather will stay the same. The rainfall will occur throughout the month of August. So the state has to, not only the state, but the people of the state also have to stay alert for the month of August.
Okay. So residents are advised to stay indoors as much as possible in Himachal Pradesh and Mumbai, also getting there to the normalcy level. Thank you very much. Shama Mishra joining us from Mumbai, Muskan Chaudhary reporting from Shimla. Moving on to Pakistan, where torrential monsoon rains lashed the commercial capital Karachi on Tuesday, causing traffic gridlock and power outages. Met Department has forecast widespread rain and thunderstorms in several districts, including Karachi, until August 21st, with occasional breaks. The deluge comes as flash floods triggered by cloudbursts in the mountainous northwest have brought destruction since Friday in the worst spell of this year's monsoon, with officials warning of more storms ahead. In Portugal, more than 1,500 ground personnel and 14 aerial units of firefighters continue to battle wildfires, battling mainly the central region as strong winds continue to fuel the flames. The fire that started nearly a week ago in the municipality of Arganil and Coimbra has burnt more than 200,000 hectares of land, which is more than the total area burnt in all of 2024. Mainland Portugal has been affected by multiple rural fires since July, especially in the north and centre of the country.
Sweeping across the Spanish landscape,
Still with Europe, Spain also continues to grapple with the worst wildfire crisis in decades, fueled by an intense 16-day heat wave and severe drought. The devastation has already claimed lives, scorched hundreds of thousands of hectares, and put key cultural and transport links at risk. All right, now let's take a look at what else is making news across the world. The White House launched an official TikTok account on Tuesday, taking advantage of its more than 150 million US users to spread the messages of President Donald Trump. Trump has a soft spot for the popular app, crediting it with helping him gain support among young voters when he defeated Democrat Kamala Harris in the November 2024 presidential election. Donald Trump has posted on TikTok that "I am your voice." Brazil's Rio de Janeiro's Getulio Vargas Hospital on Tuesday witnessed a moment of delight as pediatricians swapped their white coats for Disney princess costumes, hoping to create a comfortable and joyous environment for their young patients. The initiative aims to humanize healthcare and promote overall well-being. And families in Aba, Saudi Arabia gathered at Cowboy Town on Wednesday, a Wild West-themed pop-up under this year's Asir season. Performers in cowboy hats and fringed jackets danced on a sandy stage. The attraction opened since July 1st to August 23rd, offering horseback riding, archery, live theatre and horse shows. It has become a major draw for families across the kingdom and the Arab world. And now let's bring you up to speed with business news. At the Indian stock markets, the Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange fell 147 points to trade at 81,498. It was then rebounded by over 200 points and now is hovering around 81,909 level. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange, after slipping 48 points, initially moved past the 25,000 mark and is now at 25,044 a short while ago. Asian markets were mixed on Wednesday in the face of worrying signs for Japanese exports, and investors await signals from US policymakers of an interest rate cut in the world's largest economy, Tokyo. Tokyo's Nikkei 225 index was down 1.5%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng index was up marginally 0.3%, and the Shanghai Composite Index was up 1%. The US dollar gained for a third straight session on Wednesday against the euro and sterling as traders ahead of the Federal Reserve's annual Jackson Hole Symposium this week for clues on the monetary policy path. The US dollar index, which measures the currency against 6 major counterparts, rose as high as 98.441 for the first time since August 12th on Wednesday, after gaining a combined 0.4% over the first 2 days of the week. The New Zealand dollar tumbled after the central bank reduced its cash rate by a quarter point to 3% as expected, but said that its board had also considered a half-point cut. The euro meanwhile eased 0.1% to $1.1638 and sterling slipped 0.1% to $1.3480. In cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin hovered at around $113,612 after earlier dipping to the lowest since August 3rd at $112,578, pressured by a strengthening dollar. Friday's speech by Fed Chair Jerome Powell is the market's main focus as traders watch for any pushback against market pricing of a rate reduction next month. Later on Wednesday, the Fed will issue the minutes of its meeting on July 29th and 30th when it held rates steady, although they may offer limited insight as the meeting came before the weak jobs numbers. Chinese car makers have been growing strongly over the past years, and not only within their own country, they are exporting too much of their product to Europe, and latest numbers have some in the EU worried. Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle, joins me from Berlin now on the story. Lars, what can you tell us about the latest developments?
Thanks for having me. Well, I can definitely tell you that things are getting dicey for European car makers. We've seen a certain trend for a while, of course. Now, let's recap. European car makers, or we might as well say German car makers, because they're the biggest on the continent, and they're also a prime example for what's been happening. Those car makers used to sell a lot of their cars in China. In fact, China was for a few years their biggest market. But then Chinese companies got into the game, first by assembling parts for the Germans, then by copying, and later by refining things. Throw in their global leadership in batteries, and Chinese companies were suddenly the hottest ones in the electric vehicle market. And that market is now pretty much gone for German companies, especially since their cars are much more expensive than the Chinese models. And latest numbers are showing how well the Chinese cars are now actually selling in the EU as well. BYD has registered 20,000 plug-in hybrids in the EU in the first half of the year. That's a plus of 17,000% over the previous year. Lynx, that is a brand under the Geely umbrella of firms, sees similar growth, as does Britain's MG, which is also owned by Chinese state-owned SAIC. That's one of the big names there.
So Lars, what will the future hold for Chinese and German car makers both?
Well, likely more problems. If the EU can't plug this hole, the Chinese firms will likely take up more market share here. And their new strategy seems to be selling hybrids, as many as possible at very low prices, and get cars on the roads here, get name recognition, and then at a later point lure these customers into their regular fully battery-driven models, even if they're going to be a bit more pricey because of tariffs. Now, to achieve this, the Chinese car makers are adapting their model offering as well. In a few weeks, BYD is set to introduce the Seal 6, which is a station wagon of the type Europeans like. It's actually already on the market now in China, and it will start selling here soon. German automakers, in the meantime, are caught a bit off guard.
Okay, thank you very much for those updates, Lars Holter from DW Berlin. All right, now let's get you up to speed with soccer. Liverpool winger Mohamed Salah won the Professional Footballers Association Men's Player of the Year award on Tuesday. Salah, who joined Liverpool in 2017, was the Premier League's top scorer last season with his 29 goals, along with 18 assists, playing a key role in the club winning the league title, finishing 10 points ahead of runners-up Arsenal. The 33-year-old had already clinched the Premier League Player of the Season award, the Golden Boot for most goals scored, and the Playmaker award for most assists, making him the first player to win all the three awards in the same season. And Kylian Mbappe struck from the penalty spot as Real Madrid beat a dogged Osasuna 1-0 on Tuesday to make a winning start in the La Liga under new coach Xabi Alonso. The France striker scored early in the second half, which was enough to seal the points in Alonso's first game in charge at the Santiago Bernabeu. Madrid is now unbeaten in their opening fixture of a league campaign since 2008. Mbappe finished as La Liga's top scorer with 31 goals in his first season in Spain and is now wearing the number 10 shirt vacated by Luka Modric after the Croatian left for AC Milan last month. Researchers from Project Cetacean Translation Initiative have developed a novel drone-based tap-and-go method to tag whales. The technique is with a success rate of over 55%. It's less invasive and faster than the traditional approach. It aims to study sperm whale communication more effectively and support marine conservation. So that's the novel drone-based tap-and-go tag system for counting whales. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.